Welcome. Let's take a look at the overall crypto market. I'm going to go through a bunch of altcoins and take a look at their current pullbacks and talk about what I'm expecting if we are already bottoming or how close are we to bottoming on these pullbacks across altcoins and Bitcoin. Also going to look at Bitcoin dominance because I believe we're pretty close to the peak on Bitcoin dominance before we get downtrending once again. And when we do get downtrending on Bitcoin dominance, that's when we see altcoins taking off. So let's go through one by one here. Just going to start with the big picture on Bitcoin so we don't forget where we're at in this market cycle. General path from here will be heading towards this red box. That's the general path, this green line, general path to the end of the market cycle, the peak of Bitcoin for this current bull market. Now, that path isn't going to look like a straight line. It can be up and down. And just keep in mind, if we do go down more, that just means we run harder later, okay? So that's the general path. Doesn't mean we don't have dips and pullbacks along the way. It's only natural. It's not going to be a straight, perfect line towards the cycle peak, somewhere between 175K and 250K, okay? So just be ready for some ups and downs along the way. But anyway, that's kind of already been discussed in my past videos. Let's take a look at this local pullback, what's looking good, what might be the more bearish scenario. So with Bitcoin, we have this daily RSI where, we've been building up some bearish divergence up here. So it's natural to see us kind of chopping around, consolidating and resetting things. So bearish divergence, counter trend is not a good way to go about trying to counter the overall trend. So trying to short in an uptrend is just not a good idea. Bearish divergence, when we see it, counter trend, just means that things are decelerating a bit and maybe need to consolidate and pull back a little. And so what we want to do is trade with the trend and look for hidden bullish divergence and regular bullish divergence going in line with our overall trend. So we already have a nice hidden bullish divergence formed here. And that's going all the way back to this low at 66K, even though now we're trading around 96K. So much higher low in price. We're already getting lower low on our RSI, hidden bullish divergence. That's what it is. Higher low price, lower low indicator. And so this is what we want to see. We want to see this cool off on the RSI and just kind of consolidate and get ready for our next leg to the upside. That doesn't mean that this can't come down lower, but what we'll do is go down to a lower time frame and see if anything is looking good, if we have any regular bullish divergence on a lower time frame, because we already have the hidden bullish divergence on our daily time frame, and we can look at the altcoins. We will look at the altcoins on their dailies, their 4-hour time frames, to see what we're setting up with hidden bullish divergence, regular bullish divergence, and so on. So worst case scenario that I can think of with Bitcoin would be to come down and sweep all these lows. So this would be the low, like before we got into this kind of choppy upwards movement here. I don't necessarily think that's likely, but that's what it's going to be kind of the most bearish scenario that I could think of, is coming down, taking that low before we really get going. And if we did go down there first, that would just mean we're going to run even harder later on into the cycle high. So that is the most bearish scenario. I don't think that's necessarily all that likely. Let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame right now, see what we're doing, if we have any regular bullish divergence. And I can say that we don't actually have any clear regular bullish divergence here, but we've reset the 4-hour all the way into the oversold territory. And we've also come back to the 200 EMA of the 4-hour time frame. So this could be a likely bottoming place right here for Bitcoin. And so I think this is pretty likely that we're near a bottom. Ideally, we can get a bit of a bullish divergence. So maybe we bounce, get one more push down, and then go. So something like this on the RSI where we get the higher low, but doesn't need to happen. We form bottoms without bullish divergence all the time, but I do like to see bullish divergence to get into uptrends. Now, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin, kind of the most bearish scenario. But in my opinion, I think we're probably already going to be bottoming here. Let's take a look at some others and talk about these setups here. So we have Litecoin here, clearly trending over its 200 EMA and overall in an uptrend. And so we have a bit of a 3-wave pullback here, which is a classic corrective 3-wave move to the downside in the context of an uptrend, which the assumption from this is continuation to the upside. And this is looking very close to being done. What we can note is on this daily, hidden bullish divergence here. So we've reset nicely on the RSI. We have the hidden bullish divergence on the daily in the context of our uptrend. What we want to do is go down to a lower time frame. So let's go to the 4 hour. I want to look to see if we've reset here on the 4 hour, if we have any bullish divergence forming. And the answer is we have fully reset. This current local wave down for this kind of third wave to the downside in this pullback, we don't really have a regular bullish divergence formed yet. So what that could tell me is, okay, maybe we have another push down like this, and then we go. I think that's decently likely. I'd love to see that because that's what I would look for as far as getting an entry on a pullback like this with the daily setup. So I'm looking to enter into the daily uptrend on a pullback at a discount, and I want to see a regular bullish divergence on a lower time frame. So a higher low on this RSI, but a lower low on our price. That's a regular bullish divergence, something like this. That's what I'd love to see to then get in and look for that next full trend continuation move on that daily trend. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking with Litecoin. While we could already be bottomed here, then I would just kind of miss out on it. I already hold plenty of spot here. I think it's a great time to be stacking spot across the board, by the way. So any altcoin right now, great time to be stacking spot. This type of setup with the regular bullish divergence and the hidden bullish divergence multi-time frame perspective, that's more for my trading. But for the actual holding of spot, love to get in right now. I'm fine buying spot on any of these altcoins right now. Okay, so that's it on Litecoin. Let's go over to ARB. We'll go to the daily. Okay, so daily on ARB. Well, nice pullback, of course. We have the hidden bullish divergence once again on this daily pullback all the way into the 200-day exponential moving average. So we want to see that we get going to the upside pretty soon. Let's take a look at our 4 hour, see if we have any regular bullish divergence, which we do not on this move down. So ideally, we get another push down like this, create a bullish divergence, and then we're ready to go to the upside. And I'm going to say the same thing across a lot of these with some variance on these ones because they're set up a little bit differently. These three are pretty similar. So Litecoin, ARB, Filecoin, all setting up pretty similar with these corrections. This one also hit a bullish divergence, looking good. Nice deep pullback. Sweat the lows right here. So same thing on Filecoin. And again, same thing with the 4 hour where I would really love to just see another push down to get some bullish divergence going. So higher lows on the RSI here before we then get going to the upside. That's what I'd be looking for there. Let's take a look at CRV. So we've pulled back to the 4 hour 200 EMA. We can look at the daily, take a look at our hidden bullish divergence, which we have. So plenty of that hidden bullish divergence here, resetting nicely. We can look all the way back to the bottom of this back here. Hidden bullish divergence leading us all the way back down to the bottom of here of this pump. So this is looking good on the daily. We also look like we have a 3-wave corrective move. So we're going sideways, kind of a 3-wave correction. And again, it's the same thing here. While I think it's a great time to be buying spot, I would just love to get some bullish divergence forming down here on the RSI. I think most of this move is done to the downside, but I would just love to get a little bit more there to build up some regular bullish divergence, and then I could maybe even get into a trade, not just a spot buy. So that's CRV. Let's take a look at CVX. This one hasn't quite come down to the low of its wick here, so I'm thinking we probably head down there and take out the low of this wick and then get going to the upside. And again, same thing. I'd love to get some bullish divergence forming here, higher low on our RSI down here. Most of these pullbacks look to be nearly complete. Majority of the pullback is looking to be pretty much done. And the worst of these pullbacks, I'm thinking, is already complete. We're also going to go over to Bitcoin dominance in a sec, and I'll talk about how that's also looking nearly ready to go to the downside, which lines up with all these altcoins looking nearly ready to go, nearly ready to bottom. Okay, so HBAR, a bit of a different story here. Let's take a look at the daily. We do have the hidden bullish divergence, of course. Nice resetting of this after getting some bearish divergence. This one, again, kind of a 3-wave correction there. Let's take a look. Didn't really get the same degree of downside on this. We didn't even get the reset on our 4 hour RSI. So A little bit less interested, but I think that, again, we have this nice 3-wave correction forming here. We already got it at the beginning, and now we've just been going sideways. So, perhaps we go down a bit lower, a little bit less clear on this. The other ones to me are a bit more obvious with the setups that they're giving than H-bar. But I think since it already put in the full 3-wave correction here, that, it's just kind of going sideways now and waiting for the overall market to be ready with the Bitcoin dominance, to get going on its downtrend and money start flowing into alts. Let's go to Bitcoin dominance now. So there was some bearish divergence on the 4-hour here, but it was negated. So I'm thinking, there's the possibility we go up again, create some bearish divergence. So we're just looking for that lower high to be put in on the RSI. And that would be, another move to the upside here, which would kind of sweep this high. Maybe we sweep this high over here. But let's not forget what our weekly is looking like. So we broke down. The structure was lost on this weekly time frame. And so when structure shifts, it gives us a higher probability that the next move will be a continuation move of that initial move that broke structure. So we broke structure bearishly here with this 3-week push down. Now we're pulling back. So the idea is a lower high compared to this and then follow through to the downside. Okay. It's as simple as that. Just gives us a higher chance of this happening than this happening. Okay. So that's really where we're at right now, is just looking for this Bitcoin dominance to peak out here, which I think we're pretty close to doing. Just like with altcoins looking close to bottoming, I could definitely see us putting in another move up, getting a nice bearish divergence here on the RSI, which we don't have yet, and then continue to the downside. So I think we're pretty close across the board to getting going on some upside, especially on altcoins once Bitcoin dominance peaks out here. And of course, guys, nothing is guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. It's just based on what's most probable outcome. So let's look at some data as well while we're taking a look at everything. Great thing on Bitcoin is we have fully cooled off, and take a look at funding. We have really nicely cooled off here to very healthy levels. We actually even went negative just briefly here on the funding. So that kind of goes hand in hand with expecting a bottom soon. And I'd love to get that next push down to get that bullish divergence. And again, never know if that's going to be the bottom. Just kind of saying what I'm thinking here with where we stand. Looks like, another push down would give us a nice bullish divergence on that 4-hour. We already have the hidden divergence on the daily. And we've already reset things really nicely as far as funding goes, and flushed out a lot of the over leveraged longs. So things are looking pretty good across the board. We can take a look at some others. I mean, let's look at Litecoin. Yeah, we got some nice liquidations on this move down. We have reset funding. I mean, look how extreme funding got over here. We've reset things really nicely to healthy levels. Let's take a look at H-bar. We're negative on funding right now. So perhaps this is the reason H-bar hasn't been continuing to go down. So we're already negative on funding here. We've kind of got that bearish sentiment coming in, which is exactly what we want to see to form a bottom. Yes, everything resetting nicely, healthy funding, liquidated a lot of people here. Here's Ethereum, which I didn't cover yet. But again, same thing, nice resets across the board. CVX, it's nicely done. Just looking for it to take the lows here now. CRV already took the lows. Want to see one more push down to get that bullish divergence going. So things are looking almost there, almost ready to go to the upside. So in the next few weeks, really the expectation is going to be continuing to the upside, bottoming out on these altcoins and Bitcoin, and then continuations to the upside to go for our next major upside moves. Okay. So that's going to be pretty much it. Hopefully it's all clear what I'm thinking. The time horizon is not, what's happening today, but, looking for what's going to be the next main trending move in the next few weeks, and then going into the next 2 to 6 months. What's the kind of overall idea? Still going to be big continuations to the upside, strong moves to the upside, and just ridiculous gains on altcoins, especially once Bitcoin dominance gets trending to the downside. It's only just getting started there on Bitcoin dominance with the downtrend. So that's it for the analysis. Everything looking pretty good. Do want to give a shout out to my affiliate exchange, Bitfinex. These guys are great because they're allowing all customers globally. So anyone who can't access most exchanges due to your geolocation, I know that when I was living in the US, I had a hard time getting on most exchanges. So Bitfinex, no VPN, no KYC needed. Check them out. Have many different crypto pairs, and they have, of course, the new user bonuses, just like most exchanges, but no KYC, no VPN. So check these guys out if you're interested in a crypto exchange, and I'd appreciate it. So that's it. We'll see what happens. Just make sure you guys zoom out a bit. Don't get too worried about these, just temporary pullbacks. I made a post on X saying, don't be the guy who is asking for a pullback as everything pumps. But then when the market gives you a pullback, you forget it's a pullback and short anyway. So ride the pumps, buy the dips when the higher time frame trend is up. And then kind of gave a comparison, we're looking similar to normal pullbacks that we see in a bull market. So just wait it out. It's not going to take that much longer. Majority of the pullbacks look to be complete, not going to zero yet. And so just be patient and don't over leverage. That's it. Thanks, guys.